Good.
Okay.
Okay, it is February 27th, 2024. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Sewer Commission. My name is John Reynolds. I'm the chairman of the Sewer Commission. I'm going to read our usual announcement here. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting webinar found on the posted agenda, or from a telephone, dial the toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar number 871-1768-1305. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and an email address. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. All right, I'm going to do a roll call vote here. Brett Ramsden.
Aye.
Okay. Dave McDonald is not with us. Mike Nault.
Aye.
Mike Mackin.
Aye.
And I for myself. Members of the staff. Bill Bernard.
I'm here.
Paula Bertram.
Here.
And Jane Rainley.
Here.
Okay. Let's see. There's no one from the public that I can see. Any public comment from any of the commissioners or staff members? Someone has to fill in for Dave. He always has an announcement.
Okay, I'll make a small announcement. Just wanted to congratulate Dave again on his retirement. Excuse me, from the Salvation Army, and thank him for his many years of service.
And I'm sure that's only going to be a semi-retirement.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Ditto.
Yeah. Any announcements from anyone?
Hmm.
None. Seeing none, let's get started with our current business. We've got 2 minutes, meeting minutes to approve. Did everyone have a chance to read the ones from the January 30th meeting? Okay.
Yes.
Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the meetings from the January 30th meeting.
Okay. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion regarding the minutes? Seeing none, let's take a vote. Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
and Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
and I for myself. The minutes are accepted. Now, the February 13th workshop minutes, did everyone have a chance to read those?
Yes.
Okay, someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept those workshop minutes.
Okay. Anyone second that?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, let's take a roll call vote. Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
and I for myself. So good job, Paula.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the Leominster IMA. I guess the update there, Paula, is well, why don't you take it?
I've forwarded it to Heather and was waiting for approval. And she said the selectmen will discuss it at their March 5th meeting.
Okay, so I assume I should be at that meeting.
You certainly can be. She didn't specifically ask for that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. What she asked for is a copy of the old agreement, the new agreement, and then a list of the various changes which I provided.
Okay. All right, good. Any other discussion regarding the IMA? No? All right, the next item on the agenda is the warrant articles. Paula sent a copy of those out. Any discussion regarding those?
Okay, the articles are just the standard articles we would typically do. One is to fund the sewer enterprise operation article. The second article would be to transfer money from retained earnings to the capital reserve stabilization fund. And the third would be to put money into the OPEB sewer trust fund. Once we finalize all the numbers, I know Dave had requested we revisit the budget tonight. Unfortunately, he can't be here. But once we have all the final numbers, I'll plug all the numbers into the first article.
Okay. Now, we don't need to vote on these, do we, Paula?
Yes,
Okay. Does someone want to make a motion to accept the articles as written? And we can have Jane add these to the minutes.
I'll move that we adopt the warrant articles as written.
Any
I'll second
seconds?
that. I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion from anyone? Okay, seeing none, let's take a vote to accept. Mike Mackin.
Aye.
Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
and I for myself. The articles have been accepted. And again, Jane, if you could add those to the minutes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. The next item is the regulation changes for Appendix G sewer connection charge policy. This is basically a result of the new IMA, and we'll have to have a public meeting on that. And I think for a while we were requiring 2, but we went back to 1. Okay. So, any thoughts, Paul? You have any thoughts as to when it might be a good idea to have it?
I don't think we're going to have a lot of people in attendance. You
Right.
could either do it the first weekend of March, or, first meeting in March or the second meeting. It just has to be in place prior to July 1, which is when the fiscal year will start.
Right, it has to be has to go into the local paper, right?
Right.
Okay.
And that would be a Friday publication. So if I were to get it in by this Friday, it could be on for the 12th. Because it would be publicized
Okay,
on the 8th.
so that would be March 12th.
Yeah, but we can push it out to the 26th too, whichever you
Look,
guys would prefer.
I think let's push it out to the 26th because, well, again, we don't really have a lot of choice in the number changes because they're coming right out of the IMA. But
Mhm.
everyone on the commission will need to have read those. So yeah, I think March 26th might be a better.
Okay.
So that'll be on the agenda. Repairs at Mass One Pump Station. Bill, Paula?
So Bill and I met with Scott, who is a representative from Pride Environmental, who is being subcontracted by CTE. We met with the representative from Pride Environmental
Paula?
and
Could you
Yeah.
hold on for just a second? I've got to go shut a fan off because I can't hear you. It'll
Okay,
just take
sure.
me like 10 seconds.
sure.
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. So Bill and I met with Scott, a representative from Pride Environmental, and Robert Lilly from CTE yesterday at Mass One. They had constructed the platform within the wet well, and work is going to begin tonight at 9 o'clock. Wind River Environmental will start the pumping of the force main at 8 tonight. Robert Lilly of CTE and Rob Walsh of the DPW will be on site during the entire project, which is expected to take 8 to 10 hours. An announcement went out to all the affected homeowners within the service area via the reverse 911 system, advising them of the work and requesting them to use minimize water use. The cost for this repair is approximately $40,000, which is going to take most of our budget for capital. In addition to the pipe repair that's going to take place tonight, there were numerous other issues that were discovered by Pride Environmental and CTE when they were doing the survey. The 2 suction lines are severely corroded and they're going to need to be replaced. And I did get an email from CTE today stressing that if one of those were to fail, it would cause the system to fail, the pump station to fail. The wall and the force main have deteriorated and the main has rusted and requires replacement. So in order to do that work, they're going to need to do some excavation. They'd have to remove some of the asphalt adjacent to the force main location, and the entire main has to be exposed. So as they're doing the work tonight, they're going to take some more pictures. I did get some pictures today, which I can share, of the work. And so then they're going to put together an estimate of those repairs. Moving forward, it's recommended that the carb troll at that station be removed and the vent enlarged, because apparently the system needs to breathe to prevent the corrosion that's happening, or to reduce the corrosion that's happening. We do need to make sure we clean the wet wells at least annually. And unfortunately, Robert reported that the Dana Street station is in a very similar situation. So we have some major repairs coming up. And if you'd like, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to share the pictures that were sent to me today.
Yes, please, I'd be interested.
Paula, I have a question.
Sure.
When you said the entire force main needs to be exposed, you mean all the way from the top of the hill? We're talking
No, the
thousands
force
of
main
feet.
coming out of the station. So from the wall
Okay.
where it comes out of the station and then connects to the wet well.
I see. Okay.
so
Just
let
double
me-
checking on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just share my screen. I can.
And just to add what Paula said, I also put a message out on the DPW Facebook site. Explaining the work, and again, asking people not to use a lot of water in that area. And when we talked to Pride Environmental, this is work they do all the time. And he was pretty confident that he could get it done in the 8 to 10 hours tonight. So
Okay.
got a good feeling from them.
So this is the pipe they're working on, and you can see this water that is leaking out of the coupling, and it's going down, hitting the concrete, and then coming back.
So we're
so
looking
that's-
down. We're looking down into the wet well here.
Right.
No,
Actually, I
looking
think
up.
we're looking
looking
up.
up.
We're looking
You're looking
up.
up.
We're looking
Okay.
up. We're
Mhm.
looking
Okay.
up. So it's leaking, hitting the concrete, and then coming back down. And we actually have a video of this too, but this is the pipe they're working on tonight. Let me just go to the next one. So these are the suction lines that they were talking about that need replacement, and we have some, these are the 2 pipes you can see with the corrosion. And we have some close-ups of those that I'll show you. be easier on my own computer, but, this is a video of the repair tonight, if I can get it to play. Can you guys see that? So that's the pipe they're working on tonight.
Yeah.
And now let me show you the pictures of the suction lines. I received these today from CTE. So you can see that there's some really heavy corrosion on that pipe. Okay.
Okay.
So apparently, at one point, there was some spot welding done to try to repair them. Robert thinks it was many years ago. So it's essentially the same photos here, but, and this is the other pipe. So those are the pipes that are going to need to be replaced next. So what they're doing is they're cutting the pipe, replacing the placing it, and obviously fixing the coupling, and hopefully we won't run into anything else as they're doing the work. But that's the work that's taking place tonight.
And you mentioned, I don't remember who it was, said it, poor venting contributed to this. I mean,
Corrosion.
a significant contribution, or just made it happen a
Bill,
little.
Bill,
Go
do
ahead.
you want to talk about that?
Well, the stations are almost 20 years old, so
Yeah.
I don't know if we call it significant, but he did recommend having it breathe a little more and it would slow the corrosion down. So maybe the next pipe will last longer than 20 years.
Okay. Okay.
So
Any
once I
que-
have the estimates on the other work that needs to be done, I will certainly share those with you. My hope is that we can put it off until July 1. But I'm looking at all the numbers in the budget to try to find out where we have any wiggle room. And I actually want to meet with the town accountant and go over all the numbers. But this repair is $40,000. Obviously, replacing the other two pipes is going to be at least that much, potentially more. And I'm assuming fixing the force main coming out of the building and then connecting is going to be even more than that. And then we're going to be looking at the same thing at the Dana Street station. Now, this doesn't take into account all of the other repairs that we were hoping to do. The pump at Dana Street, the pumps are really giving us a problem over at Dana Street. And my hope was to use $40,000 to repair those, to replace those pumps. Obviously, that money is now consumed by this repair. So we've got a lot of capital expenditures coming up in the very near future.
Right. And yeah, we
Question.
really need to plan carefully for this, because as Paula has educated me, we can't just take money from retained earnings for an emergency without getting permission from
The
town
town.
meeting. So we really need to plan for this.
And just to let everybody know, I did confirm that with the town accountant. If we're going to take money from retained earnings or from our stabilization fund, it has to be allocated via a town meeting.
Is that something that we should be considering for this town meeting?
Well, the fiscal year will be just about over. But potentially we could, if there is any money left over, and honestly, Mike, I'm not sure how much is going to be left over. But if there is any money left over, I can encumber it, which would not require a town meeting action.
Okay.
And I would certainly do that. I did that last year. So I'll encumber those funds because we know we have these repairs coming up, provided I can get a quote that falls within that financial spread, then I will encumber those funds and a town meeting wouldn't be required. But one thing we may want to think about is right now we're budgeting about $100,000 per year in capital. You know, is that enough? It's a question.
That's what I was wondering. I was thinking double that might be a little closer and not potentially still not covering, depending on what's coming down the road.
Right. I mean, it's honestly a balancing act right now, because we had budgeted the $100,000 and doing that obviously caused a substantial rate increase, or will cause a substantial rate increase. So I don't know where we go from here. Honestly, I was not expecting, I don't think Bill was expecting the news that we heard yesterday either. And then to hear that Dana Street's in a very similar plight. It's not a good situation.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the situation worries me further if we have these situations happening in two pump houses simultaneously around the 20-year mark. What else are we going to be running into very soon on potentially any or all pump stations? And a quick question, and it's completely potentially out of left field, is insurance that we have on the system. Is there any potential use for insurance on any of these situations? I don't know who would answer that or what the answer would be.
I'm
And
just
I
gonna-
don't know either, honestly.
I mean, I don't know either. You know, maybe we can find out, but this would probably come under normal wear and tear. So you know, unless a tree falls on top of one of the pump stations in the next few weeks, I'm just not sure insurance would cover that.
Well, we were talking at our last meeting about the amount of insurance we have that would cover the cost of replacing the whole system. So I got wondering what would trigger covering the whole system. A tree fall isn't going to destroy the system, the pipes underground. See where I'm going with that? Why are we paying all this insurance if it's not covering something underground as well?
Bill and
Does
I
that
can
make any-
certainly talk with the town manager, and find out what may or may not be covered and report back to you guys. As far as financially, one option is to take more money than we had originally anticipated from retained earnings, at least for next year. And I think that's something you guys want to consider, is putting another $100,000 into capital from retained earnings. Not necessarily impacting the rate, and then we can reassess next year. We did talk about potentially another 3% increase, but let's see where we are after we get through some of these repairs. But that would be my suggestion.
Right. No, I think adding 100,000 to the capital, I think would be a prudent thing to do, given what you, Paula, and Bill have observed. And you know, if we don't have to use it for an emergency, that's great. But I think we're seeing that our system is deteriorating more rapidly than we thought. And Paula, thank you for putting those numbers together. Obviously, 2023, the pump usage stayed up high. It didn't go down after COVID, quote unquote, ended. So our pumps are running 50% more than they were in 2020. 2020. And every time you start one of those pumps, you take a little age off of it. So,
Yeah, just a thought on the capital needs is that I assume that also will include, you know, the kind of testing and engineering that would be necessary to assess the health of the system.
Well, that honestly, it doesn't. You know, looking at where we were, let me just pull up the budget if I can. So the fund balances, right now, we were predicting to take 182,000 out of retained earnings, in order to supplement the budget in fiscal 25. Now we've added another 100,000 for capital, so that will make that 282. We can certainly take more. At the close of 23, we had 2.2 million, but then we transferred 419,000 this year, and 36,000 to the capital line item this year. But we do have the funding available, and I think given the situation we're in, it does make sense to utilize some of that money. And as John just said, if we don't end up using it, that's okay, but at least we have it available. So you may want to consider taking even more than that. It's a judgment call from you guys.
I agree.
So are we talking?
Again, forgive me if I'm asking a question because I'm the new guy.
No, that's fine.
I assume that we have some kind of, this is where our system is and what our 5-year maintenance needs are for the system?
Well, that would be an assumption that's not necessarily the case. That's what I've been trying to do is with the capital plan is I had met with CTE and we had gone through what they think needed to be replaced and what needed to be done. But we hadn't done wet well cleaning in many years. And some of this stuff was discovered when they did the wet well cleaning. And so now we have determined that we need much more than we originally thought. So if you look at the budget, I had forecasted the 5 years based on the recommendations of CTE at the time, but now that has changed because of this situation.
Right.
And honestly, I can't put a dollar amount to it yet because I don't have the quotes.
Right.
So our budget is due very soon, so we may want to put a big buffer in there that we may or may not use. And the worst case, the best case scenario is we don't use it and it goes back into retained earnings.
Right.
Correct.
And the capital plan that Paul has been working on and showing us is it's really been more about, I'll say, all the moving parts of the system. What we're seeing today, worked on tonight, and the other things that Bill and Paul have described are not the moving parts of the system. We're talking about pipes and connections. So I think the capital plan, as we were looking at it, was good, but we just, like I said, we're looking at the moving parts, mechanical parts. So
Right.
I think we need to be prepared by putting quite a bit of money into capital, and I'm being redundant now and then if we don't use it, for an emergency, we can put it back.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Sure.
Directed at Paula. So this wet well cleaning, how many wet wells have been cleaned thus far?
7.
So
7 out of 10.
The 3 big
So-
ones have been cleaned, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So we have 3, we still are wild cards still at this point. Who knows what we'll
Right,
find.
those are the smaller stations that don't see the flow. We focused on the 3 big ones and then some of the ones that Robert knew had to be cleaned, like Mass 2. And I don't have the list right in front of me. I don't know if you remember, Bill, which ones we did besides the 3 big ones in Mass 2.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Okay, yeah,
but
I
the
don't
other
know
ones
off the top
don't-
of my head.
yeah, the other ones don't see a lot of flow, so Robert didn't feel like they needed them at this time anyway.
Okay, thank you
But-
very
but-
much. I was just curious, what else might be found,
Yeah, but I did incorporate money in next year's budget for wet well cleaning and it needs to be done on an annual basis.
Sounds like it. And then we're gonna find our problems quicker and potentially it would give us a chance to get ahead of them, maybe, potentially.
Exactly. exactly. So you may want to consider, 152,000. Bill, I don't know if you have any idea or any feel of what you think these repairs at Mass One are gonna take.
Well, we were kicking numbers around and it's gotta be at least equal to what we're seeing tonight, if not more, so. So if we say it's 60,000, we gotta probably do the same at Dana, so 60 here. And 60 over at Dana, another 40 at Dana, that's 160 there alone.
So we're talking about it, I would say at least putting additional $200,000 in capital.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
If I could say, I agree with that also, not knowing the numbers and, thinking that they're gonna be equal repairs. And the thing is, to have it there is good, hopefully not use it all, and at that point, it'll help out down the road, but, I think I don't consider this a disaster. I think this is the system's 20 years old. I mean, at some point, you got to put money into it. And we're finding, unfortunately, two pump stations at the same time need the money. And it's just, that's what stabilization's there for in the first place. And moving forward, hopefully, we're going to take a good look at the other stations and not run in that kind of money and maybe do some preventative maintenance at the same time. So,
Right,
I'm
right.
I don't consider it a disaster. I don't consider it, we did a rate increase because we're getting increases from
Right.
towns, and this is just part of the maintenance. Unfortunately, we have no control over it. So we just gotta
Right,
keep-
and
just move
we
forward.
also are doing a capital plan now, a 5-year capital plan, and
Sure.
forecasting what things we are gonna need.
Right,
And as John said, that really focused on the moving parts, but now we're finding out that we need to put some money into the non-moving parts
Sure.
of the station.
Sure.
Um,
and the only other question I'd ask, and not knowing, they're saying part of this was because how it was venting. So I would hope we're gonna take a good look at all the stations that are venting and make sure, if something can be corrected, it has to be corrected, that we take care of that, so we don't run into a major issue out of it. That's all.
Right.
we absolutely are,
Sure.
and we talked about that on
Yeah,
site.
and it makes sense. So, yeah.
So is there a motion to appropriate
Yeah, we're gonna need a
200,000 from
motion
the-
to move another $200,000 into capital.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Going once, going twice for a second.
Is there a second?
Do, 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 do.
No one's gonna second that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know my speaker was off.
Okay.
Yes, I was trying to second that motion. Thank you.
Okay. Phew. Any further discussion?
Had you sweating that one, John?
I
didn't
was like, what?
I'm like, why isn't anybody responding?
Any further discussion on that?
I just have one question, Mr. Chair. We have currently 145,964 in the capital reserve stabilization. And approximately 1.5 million in retained earnings. Do you want to split where we're taking that from, or do you want to take it all from retained earnings?
Well, if we take it all from retained earnings, the
It just goes
149,000,
back. I think that's the cleanest move.
I do too. Anyone have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with that also, because then it still leaves some in the capital gain, on that side of it.
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion that has been seconded to move $200,000 to the capital fund. And let's take a vote. Mike Knopf,
Aye,
Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Brett Ramsden,
Aye.
and I for myself. Motion passes. Okay. I guess I moved right from item E into item F, but so um, is there we voted on increasing the rate by 16%, which I think based on the discussions that we had tonight was a good decision. But I know one member, if he was here, might be talking about whether it should be 16 or not. But I think we need to keep it at 16. I personally don't see a need to vote to change that. But if any of you have any thoughts on that,
I think it's a solid number, especially the moves we just made
right?
last to, to. back-
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I would concur with Mike, and you. I guess my only concern is, as big a number as it is, I hope it's enough.
Right. Well,
I think we
think
should stick with
I
it
think-
there.
I think with moving the money into capital and keeping the 16, obviously we're going to have to revisit the rate for the following year also. And, we had bantered around 3 to 5, but we'll just have to wait and see. So, any other discussion regarding the budget?
No, but I will let you, I did want to say, sounds like Dave is trying to log on. and
Oh,
having-
Dave is trying to log on. Hold
Let's adjourn quick.
Yeah,
on.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second,
Is someone going to second that? Yeah. Don't second that because it'll make it official.
right, okay, I take it back. I'm not muted.
Dave,
Dave,
you're
are you
on.
there?
Dave,
I am. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good
we were
evening.
about
So-
to adjourn,
Video
Dave.
off. Yeah, I made it right on time. Thanks.
Yeah.
No,
You
so-
didn't miss much.
Well, John, do you want to fill him in about what we were just talking about?
Yeah, Dave, we about the repairs
Yeah,
at Mass One that Paul has been sending emails out about. But
Yeah.
there has been additional damage discovered when CTE was setting up the scaffolding in the wet well. And either Paul or Bill, if you could explain what that additional damage is.
So Dave, when they were in there and up close with the pipes, the two suction pipes are steel. And when they got close to them, they noticed there was a lot of rust and scaling. So scaling, there's big pieces of rust falling off. So what they're seeing is the wall of the pipe is much thinner now than its original. So their recommendation is to replace those pipes sooner than later. If a hole was to develop, because the type of pump, it's a suction pump, it would be sucking air and then it wouldn't work right. So
yeah.
we'd have to do an emergency repair ASAP. So it's in our best interest to replace the pipes sooner than later.
I would do that right away. I would vote for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get costs from different vendors, right?
What's that, Dave?
Well, there, right now, we're doing that work through CTE as our maintenance company.
Okay,
If we get to a position where we have to do a substantial amount of repairs, we will have to go out to bid.
I know, I agree. We should, something like this.
Mm.
And what
the
are we doing? What are we
Dave,
doing
you-
about? Go ahead.
Dave, the other thing is, Dana Street is in much the same condition, not quite as bad, but And the other thing is part of this is, you know, the charcoal venting system,
Yes,
it really isn't adequate. And it needs to be redone so that air flows more air flows. So that's just something else that's going to need to be done probably at all three of the larger stations.
so the question I would have is this because they're 20 years old, or is it because they were used excessively during COVID?
Well, they are 20 years old. And I think the second part of that was because of COVID.
Were they used excessively because of COVID?
Well, we know from the ARPA presentation that what was sent to Leominster increased by 50% in 2021 and increased by 50% over 2020. And it stayed that way in 2022. And Paula just sent me the numbers in 2023. So, you know, those pumps are turning on 50% more than they were in 2020.
We're
And-
not seeing the drop that we would have thought we would see
Right.
at the return to normal, quote normal. A lot of people are still working at home, and we're seeing it's basically stagnant at the high level.
If I may, regarding the pipes themselves, though, I don't believe the increase that we've seen with COVID and beyond would actually affect the pipes that way. I think that's
Probably not.
a problem with the age and or additional problem with the breathing.
Well, I think the crack pipe is probably because of all the excessive pumping going through that pipe that cracked. I don't know about the ones under the ground though, but it would have been nice to get the APRA money. You know, they took it seriously. That's all. That's why they did it.
I was
I'm
just,
sure Mike agrees with you.
yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. It just seems to me that 200 that we just had to use would have been nice to have it come from ARPA money, which we asked for, but you know.
Mhm.
Right. Well, we're not going to get it by talking about it tonight. I agree with you too. So Dave, what we talked about and voted on was to add another $200,000 to capital. In the event we need it for these repairs. And, you know, if we don't end up using it, you know, so be it, it can go back. But as Paula and I have discussed, and we talked a little bit about tonight, just because we have money in retained earnings doesn't mean we have access to it without a town vote. So we want to, you know, plan ahead and put an extra $200,000 in capital. So that's where we were when you joined.
No, I agree with it 1,000%.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
did you
did we
get that?
actually
1,000.
finish the vote?
What was that, Brett?
Did we actually finish the vote, or were we still in
Yeah,
the
we did.
discussion?
Yeah.
We voted to move 200,000.
Okay.
Is that enough, guys?
Keeping our fingers crossed.
Well, we have 100,000 in already. You know, we had budgeted 90,000, and now we're adding another 2, so.
Yeah, but Bill, do you think that's enough money?
You know, David, it's hard to say, right? The pump stations are coming to the end of their life. It could be enough. We could have more emergencies. It's hard to say.
Oh, what I'm saying, I'd probably go, I don't want to discuss what you guys already discussed, but I would take 250,000, leave it there. If we don't use it, then put it back at the end of the year. May I suggest that we revisit it after we take a look at the other 2 projects? Yeah. I mean, if something happens this year, we can't get the money. So if we take 250, what would that cost us versus in a savings account making interest? Anything?
Yes, it does make us money. I can't tell you exactly how much because we don't get those numbers until the end of the fiscal year. But I can tell you that I'm hoping, I know CTE and Pride are working on quotes right now. So I should have figures for the March 12th meeting. I don't know if you want to revisit it on the 12th when we have some more concrete numbers, or if you want to move an additional 50 tonight.
The thing that's happening is that there's a lot of stuff going on in town. And I just don't want anything to happen to our budgets or anything, not that they will, but it's gonna be a tough sell, but it's a legitimate one. And I just hate to see you guys try to replace the pumps and find out we don't have enough money to go back for a special town meeting or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
We can change it. We can ask now for 250, but make that decision when you go to town meeting. I think, can we?
Yeah, we can amend it on town meeting floor.
Might as well cover our ass. That's all I'm saying.
Cover our ass meeting vote
Sure.
tonight or do that at town meeting?
No, I would vote the 250 tonight and give it a, let's see what it's actually gonna cost.
All right, well, Dave, do you want to make a motion to,
Has it already been a motion on this?
well,
Yes. Motion
we
was voted on.
For
we
an
voted
additional
on,
50.
we voted on moving 200,000.
Okay, so I'd like to make an amendment to that.
Well, I don't know if you can amend it. You'd have to, I think you'd have to
Make-
make a motion to, go ahead, Mike.
Well, then it's a motion to reconsider.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So
that's
Dave,
what I
make a
would do.
motion to reconsider.
Yep. I got this.
You got it. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I vote to reconsider the previous vote and increase the budget to 250,000 pending town meeting.
Different motions.
Increase the transfer to $250 to capital,
250,000.
250,000.
250,000, yeah.
Yep.
Does someone want to second that?
Additionally, yes, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Mike Mackin, you looked like you wanted to say
Well,
something.
it really should be two separate motions. A motion to reconsider and then a motion on the money.
You want to do it that way, Mike? You want to call for a motion to reconsider?
Sure, I'll call for a motion to reconsider.
Okay,
I'll second.
Need us, okay.
any further discussion on that? No, let's take a roll call vote. Mike Nault,
Aye.
Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Brett Ramston,
Aye.
Dave McDonald.
Aye.
And I for myself. Hey, Dave, good to see you.
There you are.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
so now the motion
Motion.
to make that 250 needs to be made.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to take a motion that we increase the, not increase, let's just call it to fund
Oh.
$250,000.
wait.
It is an increase.
I didn't hear everything Mike Mackin said. Mike, did you make a motion?
I made a motion to reconsider. We have to have two separate
Okay.
motions. A
Yeah,
motion to
okay.
reconsider
You did.
and a motion on the money.
All right, Dave, go ahead.
I request that we increase the money to 250,000 to support the pump station's needs. Did I miss something?
No, is there a second?
If, I'll second that motion. I didn't know it was in the form of a motion.
John, did we lose you?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, we lost John.
Is Mike there? Did we lose Mike too?
Yes. No, we have both mics.
Yeah, they're here.
Brett, you want to take it over? I think John's gonna come back though.
So Brett, do you wanna?
Oh,
Take
we
it.
lost John. I didn't realize we lost John.
Yeah, we lost John.
My bad. Okay, folks, moving forward, let's do a roll call vote. Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
Dave McDonald,
Yeah, no,
and I for myself. Motion carried. And one little note after the fact. Just want to thank Jane for her expertise and minutes taking, because she's going to be up against it tonight. And thank her for her abilities.
Should have stayed home, huh?
Yeah. So it looks
Thank
like
you,
John is
Brett.
trying to get back on.
John's trying to
You're
get
welcome.
back on, yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I
We'll
see.
wait the 30 seconds.
I think he's in. I see Bonnie.
Houston, we have a problem.
Mhm. Yeah, he's having an issue.
John, can you hear
Uh,
us? You're muted if you can.
His mic is still off. Let me bring this back up. Figure out where we are here.
Sorry, it's getting late, guys. I was stuck in New Hampshire.
So the next is the business manager report.
I thought you guys
Okay,
had-
was that next? Yes, let's proceed with the business manager's report. I just wasn't sure where I was because I didn't have my agenda up in front of me, but thank you, Paula.
So update on system maintenance and upgrades. Hold on one second. I just got a message from John. He can't unmute.
You gotta get off and come back on.
So Dave is saying to get off and get back on.
That happened to me too.
Okay, so he's trying that. So update on system maintenance and upgrades. We talked about the Mass One repair that's happening tonight. I'm still awaiting quotes on the other repairs at Mass One. We installed a new control panel at West Street on February 12th. There was a fog last week at the Leominster station, again with rags blocking the pump. Dana Street, we had a pump failure last week. Robert was able to get it back online, but those pumps do need replacement in the very near future. I am awaiting a quote currently on those pumps, but again, given the repairs at Mass One, I don't know whether or not I'll be able to swing them this year or not.
Paula.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's a question for you or Bill, but do we not have backup pumps stored
Not-
somewhere?
Bill, do you want to comment?
Yeah, I think we have, what, 3 of them now?
But not one that will fit Dana, and Dana is
Right.
one of the much larger pumps. We have some of the smaller pumps in stock, but we don't have one that would work at Dana in stock.
All right, thank you both. I didn't mean to interrupt. It just popped into my head. I wanted to, while we were on the subject, before you moved on. Thank you, Paul.
Yep, no problem.
You know, Paul,
So
excuse me,
John-
Paul. I got one more question
John,
too.
I was just going through the updates. If you want me to continue, or do you want to back up? John,
No, go ahead, continue.
okay.
I'm assuming,
Um,
I'm assuming you voted for the 250?
yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Paula, before
Um,
you go on, Paula, before you go
mhm.
on, I thought the pump on Dana Street was a long lead item. Is that still the case? Do we know?
Yes, it is, and I'm having a real hard time getting quotes from CTE. It's trying to get quotes. You know, Robert is saying that they can be upwards of $40,000 a piece. So I don't know. I'm waiting for the quotes.
I think we called the manufacturer. I think Rob called the manufacturer before, just so you know, with the model number.
Okay, well,
I'm
that's
trying to
good to
think
know.
of something. Yeah,
All right,
because we supply it and it would be cheaper for us to get it than have another company get it.
okay. Well, I was trying to go online and look at replacements, and I can't match what we have now based on the specs. Bill, maybe that's something you and I can look at.
Yeah, we can work on it.
Okay. So the, as I said, the Dana Street pump did fail, but he was able to get it back online. West Street, the low-level float was stuck on, and Robert repaired that. We've put in an order for Mass One, replacement of the dialer, and that is on order, and that's approximately $3,000. The generator repairs are underway, approximately $5,000. Currently, I'm working on the invitation for bid for the manholes. As you guys all know, we received the $100,000 in ARPA money for the manholes. What I've done, and Camille and I have done, is look at all of the manholes with I&I. We have 30 right now that have identified I&I based on the Wright Pierce report, which was done in 2016. The DPW staff, some of the guys went out and actually opened those manholes, and they confirmed that those repairs are needed. I want to thank them for taking the time to go out and do that work. So with that, that will consume the 100,000. You know, potentially we may need additional funding, but right now that looks like that would the 100,000 will cover the repairs on those 30 manholes. Unfortunately, we still have 145 that need repair after we repair those 30. And again, that's based on the 2016 and 2020 visual inspections. So I've proposed a budget of 50,000, up from 10 to 50,000, but that's only gonna, based on the prices that we're looking at, that's only gonna address 10 to 20 per year. So just another thing to keep in mind is that, you know, we've got a lot of work on manholes to do.
Yeah, but with that, I think if we take the worst ones first and go that way, you know, over a period of time, we'll get them all.
So, and that's definitely what we'll do is we're looking at the priority ratings that Wright Pierce gave them, and that's really how we're focusing. Although this time, this run with the ARPA money, we're really focusing on the I&I issues, because based on the numbers and the estimates that Wright Pierce did back in 2016, if we address these 30 manholes, we will reduce I&I on, you know, by 225,000 gallons per day.
Wow.
So that's obviously very substantial. So hopefully that will reduce our costs as well.
Yeah.
We're, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we're looking at the possibility of grant funding for the pump stations. Unfortunately, like I said, I'm still having trouble getting the quotes, and maybe if Bill and I take the route of trying to get prices, hopefully we can move that forward. Today, Bill informed me about a sinkhole on Fairview, and Bill, if you want to talk about that.
Yes, it is a good sized sinkhole going on in Fairview, right next to a sewer manhole cover. So it appears, we didn't get the cover open, but it appears that water is sucking all the fines from underneath the road into the sewer manhole. So if we fix that, that should help a lot for I&I also.
Excellent.
Where's Fairview?
Off of Leominster Road, near
Okay.
West Street.
Yes.
Right out of the center, bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter lives on Fairview.
Yeah.
So that is something we're gonna have to fix, and we'll use some of our manhole funding to fix that, that's in our budget. So that's all I have for updates right now. I can go into the sewer business on the maintenance and upgrades unless anybody has any questions. Sewer business manager job rating, was very happy to report to you guys at our last meeting that we had met with the personnel committee. It was Bill, John, and myself. We reviewed the job description and the duties with the personnel committee and came up with a rating of 655, which we were satisfied with. On February 12th, the personnel committee went back through the rating and reduced it to 605, moving the position down to a grade 9. Both Bill and I disagree with that. So right now, the personnel committee is working on a salary grid based on their meeting last evening. doesn't look like they're gonna really change anybody's grade or move anybody. They may make an adjustment for a 3% increase across the board, but more to be seen. I have sent a couple memos to the Board of Selectmen, which I've also copied all of you on. I'm very disenchanted with this process. It is very disheartening to have made an agreement with a committee and then to have them change it and then not even notify the department head that they changed that. I will say at the meeting that I attended, this was also done to the public safety coordinator. They had reached an agreement, and Chief Gamble was present and also expressed his disappointment that changes are being made without considering input from department heads. But that's where we're at. I'm going to continue to be a voice because I think this has been extremely unfair. And Bill, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah, I only want to echo what you said. I don't want to say too much, but watching their meeting that they had last night, it was hard to watch. It was just, yeah, it was shocking. I don't want to say too much.
They're gonna have to go to town meeting, correct? Which is-
Yes.
So let's keep an eye on it, as obviously what we're doing.
And Paul, have you received any response from the email that went to the selectmen?
No. I have been approached by a couple selectmen that do want to talk about it, but I haven't had that opportunity as of yet.
Okay.
I didn't see the first meeting that they approved it. But I
It
would like
was
to-
not televised.
It was not televised.
Okay. I mean, I've never seen if you approve something and take it away, so that's why I have an issue, is why was it approved and then why was it taken away?
Right, and it's very clearly stated in the minutes that it was approved and that we went through the entire job description and what we approved. And the thing that really irritates me is at the very end of the meeting, we were asked, are you okay with these scores, this score? And all of us said, yes, we are. And then to have, and I see John and Bill just shaking their heads because we were. And then for them to revisit it and downgrade it without, and quite frankly, their downgrading is not appropriate in my opinion, given this role. And you guys have all seen the letter that I sent. But very, very unhappy with the process and very unhappy with the decisions that are being made.
Well, like
I
I
love
said,
my job. So,
I'd just like to know that if they said yes, why did I want to know why they changed their mind. Have you got an answer to that question?
no, the only thing that during the meeting, and this one was televised, is that the HR director indicated that after having time to reflect on a couple of the positions without the pressure of the department heads and the employees being present, she believes that some of the scores should have been lowered. And she gave her reasons why some of the scores should have been lowered, which quite frankly, I completely disagree with, because without understanding the job and what's involved with the job, you can't make those kind of judgment calls. And that's what I think was lacking. And you know, Bill had done a great job of providing information on why the scores should be what he thought that they should be. And that was just completely disregarded.
Forgetting the scores, forgetting what happened, I think it initially should have started with the department heads explaining to Julia, our human resource personnel, what is the scope? The sewer division is not the same as it was last year. I think, Bill, were you ever asked to go in and discuss your department head, your employees?
Yeah, well, it was the first time when I was totally blindsided the whole process, when they really had a low score. And then when the second time we went back, and yeah, I had a better understanding of what the process was about. So I put together my thoughts on it and they agreed, you know, except for one item, but we were okay with that one item. So again, we were blindsided again when we found out that they lowered the scores again.
You know, one thing I want to make clear, I do have the utmost respect for the personnel committee. It's a tough job trying to do it. It depends on who you're getting your leadership from too. And if Julie's on the same page with you, Bill, then we shouldn't be having an issue. So there's something wrong here. And,
Yeah, no, Julie's not on the same page. That's very clear.
you know, I think maybe John, as a chair, you might want to talk to Julia. But I mean, that to me, the way it should have been done is the department heads, and only the department heads, should give a description of what their employees do, because they do it. It's a day-to-day operations. It's a no-brainer. But for have Julia try to explain what a DPW director, or in this case, a business manager does, you know, I mean, if you look at just an example of the billing that we just did, you know, is your job descriptions spend 600 hours trying to find a problem for the town with the billing? Was that on the list? I don't think so. I mean, it's a lot different today than it was. Everything changes, technology changes. People have to be more experienced on how to work the technology. And that's where one of your strengths are, is the technology. And Bill, the same with you. I mean, over the last couple of years, I got to learn to work with you, and I got a lot of respect for you. You got a tough job in this town, and you do a fantastic job at it. And the same thing with you. If you need something, I know you got my support. I mean, we're a little town. We don't have to have all this political crap. And that's my opinion anyways. But like I say, I do respect the board. I do respect the chair. The same way I hope they have the respect for us on the sewer. So the boards have to work together as well. My opinion.
Any other thoughts or comments regarding this?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would simply like to agree with what Dave just stated. Not much more you can add, except there doesn't seem to be a lot of logic involved with what they're doing. I mean, if they at least took the time to sit in on a few of these meetings even, they would know more of what Paula does, you know, at least a hint of the efforts she puts in, and then all the out of the blue extra efforts that she has to put in. Meeting with CTE, how about the software debacle? I mean, the list goes on and on. So I'll stop now, but that's where my thoughts are. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I would like to echo what Brett kind of just said, that I think that, you know, they have department heads because they're supposed to trust the department heads. And when a department head comes and he's backing up an employee like that, it should be taken serious. He's not making it up. He's giving a job description. So, you know, to have what happened, I don't understand it either. Just, it's a letdown. It really is. I'll leave it at that.
Anyone else?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to just add that at the meeting where, you know, that I was there, Paula was there. Part of that discussion was the job description. So they were basing a lot of their scores off a job description. So we rewrote the job description to match what is actually needed now. And, you know, we had that job description available for them, and they pretty much have agreed with it. They agreed with the
You
scores.
talking about the meeting that I was at too?
Yes.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably go on and talk about this all night, but I was, that reversal is, I just found dumbfounding. So,
You know, Mr. Chair, I can see a board changing their mind or want to rehash it, but let the employee know. I mean, you don't do it on TV. You know, to find out from a friend that, you know, you just been reduced. I mean, that's what I have a problem with. You don't keep employees that way after a while. You know, people get discouraged.
okay, well, I think we just need to keep our eye on this as the process continues. Is that the right phrase?
And I agree with that. I think the personnel committee needs that time to put it together.
So I will say that they have two more meetings scheduled. It's March 11th and March 13th. And they need to have it finalized by then, because their articles are due by the 18th. And then they have the presentation to the selectmen and the finance committee. So the goal, based on their last meeting, my understanding is to get it finished the week of the 11th. Bill, is that what, after you have watched the meeting, that's your thought as well?
Yep, that's what they were saying.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it rectifies itself.
Okay,
I'm wondering, Mr. Chairman,
yes, go ahead.
I'm wondering whether, communicating a concern about how the process has played out to the personnel committee is worth the effort.
Okay, Mike, sorry, I didn't hear everything you said. If you,
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether, we expressing ourselves to the personnel committee about our concerns about the process would be of any use in the process.
yeah, it might be worth expressing that at the public comment at the next meeting, personnel meeting. Okay. Any other comments? No? Okay. Any public comments? No, seeing none. We've got our next meeting on the 12th. And then the 26th. And the 26th, we talked about, Dave, you weren't here for that. We talked about having a public hearing meeting to talk about the change in the sewer connection regulations.
I think that's the law, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to
Yes.
do it. But I'm just saying that as of now, it's going to be the March 26th meeting.
Okay. Is there only one meeting now or two? I think it's only one.
It's one. It was two for about a year. And I think that the sewer commission made the right decision when they went back to one.
Yes, that was a fight.
Yep. Okay, any other comments?
Mr. Chair, I got one.
Yep.
I just want to say, this past Sunday, as everyone's aware, I retired from the Salvation Army EDS. That doesn't mean I'm retiring from life, but I won't be going nationwide on the REDS emergency disaster services. I still will probably be working locally, just not as much. I'm getting old out there. I guess you can't get rid of it. But the event on Sunday was heartwarming. And I just want to thank everybody. We had a lot of people there. And I got a lot of acknowledgments from fire departments all around the state and from other parts of the country and the police departments as well. So my heart goes out to everybody who, one, we served, and two, who helped us serve, especially all the people. And I said in my speech to everybody that everybody in that room helped one another at one time or another. And that's what brings communities together. This politics stuff is too old. We shouldn't be sitting here discussing Paula's problem. It should be an automatic. We shouldn't be sitting here worrying about who's going to be president. I think what we should be looking at is how do we improve our own community, and that is working together. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank everybody with their well wishes, and I was overwhelmed, and I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you for your service, Dave.
Absolutely, Dave. Thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, Dave.
Hopefully it doesn't stop. And Mike, I know you've done a lot with me. You're my partner in crime, which I acknowledge at the thing. But I know, Brett, you've helped in the past, and Paula, and Mike Mackin, I know you volunteered. I'm going to take you up on that. And John, I know you did a couple of boot drives with us. So again, thank you. That's what it takes to make a change. And we change people's lives. And Mike, you know that. You've seen a lot of the people's lives that we changed. And to me, that makes me feel wonderful what we do. And try not to get fanfare on it, But we'll fight for what we got, and same thing here in the sewer. We'll fight what we have to do to make this department better, so. And again, Paula is a big lead on that, and I want everybody at home to know that. Paula does a lot of responsibility for the sewer department. So with that,
Thank you,
Mr.
Dave.
Chair, you're welcome. hon. With that, Mr. Chair, I'll shut up.
Well, why don't you make a motion to adjourn
When's the next meeting?
the March
The
12th?
12th.
Do you have the caucus on there too?
I don't
What-
know
what-
when the caucus is.
I thought it was, Mike, do you know when the caucus is? Mike Mackin?
I don't.
I will find out and send it out to everybody.
Mr. Chair, I put a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Sorry, Brett.
Any further discussion on that? Seeing none, let's take a vote. Mike Mackin,
Aye.
Mike Nault,
Aye.
Brett Ramston,
Aye.
Dave McDonald,
Aye.
and I for myself. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Jane-
Thank you, everybody.
Jane-
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.